Hello and welcome to the Elder Scrolls Unraveled. In this episode I'm going to be taking a look at staffs and what makes them crit and which attacks from a staff can crit. I have a fire staff equipped here and you can see my spell critical is 34% and my weapon critical is 5%. So I'm going to run off and throw some fireballs at some things and see how much I crit. Now in hindsight it probably would have been better to not have the precise trait on my staff giving me 5% weapon crit. It would have been better to keep that at 0. But we're getting quite a few crits here, so I think it's more than 5% crit. We're probably a lot closer to the 30%. Now here I'm highlighting the Destruction Expert. When you kill an enemy with a destruction spell, you regain magicka. And one thing you may be able to notice, the purple lines in the combat log there, I'm actually getting the magicka back from using my auto attack. So it's counting those as destruction spells. It's kind of interesting. So now I'm going to try out a restoration staff. This one does not have the precise trait, so I'm 29% spell crit, 0% weapon crit. And I'm going to start by doing some restoration heavy attacks. That's a channel attack. And you can see from the 3 ticks each time, no crits on any of these heavy attacks. Another thing you can see is the magicka regen from completing a heavy attack with restoration. It's showing up in blue text there at the end of each of the 3 ticks of the heavy attack. So even with 29% crit, we have no crits on any of the channels from our heavy attack, but we are getting crits with the light attack. So I think that may be an issue with channeled attacks. Maybe they are not able to crit. Now I'm going to take a look at the restoration staff healing abilities and see if we can get those to crit. Remember, we have a 29% crit chance for spells, and I haven't been able to crit this combat prayer, this direct heal. We're going to try Healing Springs, which is a morph of Grand Healing. This one's a ground-based heal over time. I'm kind of spamming it there, and not seeing any crits whatsoever. Put my regen on me. Try some more combat prayer. And it doesn't look like any crits coming from the resto staff heals based upon the spell crit. Now since we had no luck critting on our heavy attack from restoration, I'm going to try using a lightning staff. 29% spell crit, 0% weapon crit. Our light attack, we got a crit there off the bat. And another one, so we appear to be able to crit with our lightning staff. But when we pull the heavy out, we're not seeing any crits there. We just see a crit of a shock projectile. What happens with the lightning staff heavy is it will channel for 3 ticks, and at the end it will fire off a shock projectile which does additional damage. Okay, here, just to make sure, I've taken a spell critical potion. It's bumped my spell critical up to 97%. And here we go. No crits on the channel. Crit on the shock projectile, right there at 124. And then back again to the channel attacks with no crits showing up at all. No spreadsheet this video, but to summarize, spell crit drives the critical chance of both destruction and restoration staff. However, the channeled attacks from each do not seem able to crit. Restoration staff healing abilities also don't seem to crit, or at least aren't driven by spell critical. That's going to require some additional testing. We also documented the 10% magicka return for completing a restoration staff heavy attack, and we found out that the passive which grants you magicka for killing someone with a destruction spell also counts for killing them with destruction basic attacks. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, please hit like or subscribe if you haven't done so already. Starting with this episode, I'm going to be creating a companion thread for each video over on the Tamriel Foundry Game Mechanics board for further discussion. So if you have any questions, please follow the link in the description below. Well, that about wraps it up. I just want to thank you all for watching, and until next time, take care.